Alright. Hi guys. This is my 34-week update and my early labor story. I'm just going to put them together because going to labor and delivery was pretty much like the biggest thing that happened this week. So I'm just going to launch right into that. Oh, and I just got a new camera. Before I was just using like a Sony digital camera. But I got an actual camcorder. And I don't know anything really about cameras. So, yeah, Nick bought this one. So, you can feel free to comment, and let me know how the quality is compared to my other videos. I mean, I assume it would be a lot better, but I'm just not sure. So yeah. And if I'm looking down a lot, I know I do it in my other videos, it's because I have, like, even not pregnant, I have a really bad memory. So being pregnant makes it really hard to stay on track and know what I'm talking about. So I usually jot down some notes to help me remember basically just what I'm saying, because otherwise I'll just sit here and be like, forever. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Okay. So on Friday night, I was really, really tired. So I was in bed by like 9 o'clock. And so I'm like passed out and I'm sleeping and everything, and I was like conscious of the fact that I was in like pain, but I didn't wake up from it. I was just like aware in my sleep that it hurt really bad. Like my belly and everything. So I woke up probably at 7 o'clock in the morning, and like immediately I just had to get up and run to the bathroom and throw up because it hurt so bad. I was having like really bad back pain and like stomach cramps and everything, and I just had to puke a lot. So I ran to the bathroom and I threw up, and it felt like I had really bad heartburn, actually. It was really weird. Just kind of like right between my belly and my like rib cage. Just hurt really bad, like I had horrible heartburn. So yeah, so I took a bath for the back pain, and I had to like keep getting out of it to throw up. But for some reason I didn't think that anything was really wrong. I thought, I mean, I don't know, I didn't think about it being pregnancy related. Yeah, it really hurt. So I don't know why I didn't think about it as something being wrong. I was just laying on the bathroom floor, like completely naked from my bath, like just throwing up, and I laid there for like 2 hours, and I ended up getting sick 4 different times before I finally called my mom, because Nick wasn't home. So I called my mom, and she came over and she took me to the hospital. And we got there, and all the nurses were just like, "Oh, well, you probably just have the flu." And they just kept telling me that I was just sick and I just had the flu. Just really annoying. They like just kept insisting that nothing was wrong. And that I was just sick and dehydrated. But she was like, "Oh, well, you are having contractions on the monitor, so we're gonna go ahead and check your cervix." So they did that, and she's like, oh wow, yeah, I totally didn't expect that. You're dilated to a 3 and 70% effaced. Like, oh yeah, you just have the flu. So they admitted me for preterm labor, a bladder infection, dehydration, and all that stuff. So, yeah. I tested positive for group B strep, which I guess 40% of pregnant women have. And it's basically just like a harmless infection, usually harmless, that can be passed to the baby if the baby's born before you get antibiotics. So they put me on an IV, and I got penicillin on top of fluids and another antibiotic for the bladder infection. So they admitted me, and they moved me to a new room, and my contractions started getting like way closer together and way more painful. So they checked me again, and I dilated to a 4, and I faced another 10%. And they really just weren't expecting that. So the doctor did an ultrasound to check my the level of the amniotic fluid that I had, and she told me it ended up being 6. And the level, or the scale that they do it on, is like 5 is considered, anything under 5 is considered way too low, and anything above 25 is too high. And I was a 6. So obviously that was really close to being in the danger zone, kind of. And then they guessed her weight from the ultrasound, that she weighed 5 pounds and 1 ounce, which is great, so that's good. They told me that if I went into active labor, they weren't going to do anything to stop it, because at 34 weeks, the baby is already mostly developed, and has a 99% survival rate. So they said that if I went into labor, they weren't going to stop it, and the only thing that they would really be concerned about is her lung development, because that's a common problem, I guess, for babies born at 34 weeks. So they had the pediatrician come in and tell me all that stuff, and that if she were born right now at 34 weeks, then she would probably have to spend at least 2 weeks in the NICU, which was just really scary because, 1 minute it's like, I have 6 more weeks until I even meet this baby, like, at least. And then, the next minute you're like being told, it was just scary. Yeah, it was just scary. So after that, my contractions ended up slowing down, but they stayed, like I was still having them, but they were irregular. So they told me I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't eat anything the whole night, and, I'd got there at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'd puked 4 times already, so I'm freaking hungry, and they're telling me I can't eat anything until they let me go tomorrow. And actually, that's a really funny story. I started having like really, really awful back pain, really bad back pain. So they came in and they gave me a drug in my IV. I forget what it was called. It started with a T. I don't know if I remember. I'll post it in the description. But yeah, the side effects were like a floating feeling, drowsiness, and nausea. So basically I was just high off my ass, and I sent Nick to go and get me food. I convinced him to go and go to Sonic and sneak me some food. So, like, in between nurses coming in and checking my blood pressure and my temperature and everything, I'm trying to, like, he ended up going to Sonic and getting me cheese sticks. So in between these nurses like coming in and checking my temperature and my blood pressure, I'm like scarfing these cheese sticks down, like just swallowing them whole. So I like finish eating them and I'm all like fat and content and everything, and I like lay down and fall asleep. And then just suddenly like I wake up and I puke harder than I've ever puked before into this bedpan. Like just like all over this bedpan. And it was really funny because before I could get it out, before I could like get up and dump it out and like hide it, you know, a nurse came in, and she ended up dumping it down the toilet for me. But it was just funny because it was so obvious that that was the puke of someone who had just eaten like 40 cheese sticks whole. And she didn't say anything about it, but she must have known that I ate something because they were definitely like, not to gross you out, but they're like, it was nasty. So yeah, I woke up the next morning, and they cleared me to eat something, so I ordered some breakfast from the cafeteria or whatever, just a bagel and hot chocolate. So then the doctor comes in to do one more cervical check before he lets me go. So he's down there, like, with the speculum, and he's like, have you lost your mucus plug yet? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, well, it looks like you're losing it right now. So that was gross. Poor doctor. But he said no changes in dilation. I was still at a 4, so they went ahead and released me. Let's see. They just told me to come back if my water breaks or if my contractions start getting like ungodly painful, like just really bad. And I had a doctor's appointment today. And I went in and she checked me while I was there, and she said that I had undilated somehow and that I was now at a 3. So that's good. Yeah. She says she thinks I have another 2 weeks in me until I deliver. So that's good. Yeah, so I'm great. Annika's great. Just happy endings all around. That's good. But my late January baby might end up being a late December baby. So we'll see about that. And since the whole ordeal, I've been back in school every day. I wanted to at least wait to put myself on homebound until the Christmas break was over. Christmas break starts tomorrow on Friday. And then we don't come back until January 7th. So it's a really long Christmas break. And I figured if I haven't had the baby by then, basically I'll just take it by, not by ear, but, you know, and see if when I come back I feel like I need to go ahead and take my maternity leave then, or if I can make it for another few weeks. Yeah. Oh, and I got my progress report, and I'm really proud of myself for it because I got all A's, and that is the first time that I've had all A's since probably like middle school at least. So yeah, getting really big. Yeah. Here. Yeah. And I'm starting to get some stretch marks at the bottom of my belly, which I haven't had yet, so hopefully those don't get too bad. Alright, so that's my 34-week update and preterm labor story.